Junos makes managing your device's configuration easy. Junos includes a feature called Configuration Groups or config groups that will help organize and simplify the config while also reducing its size and complexity. Let's say you have a few configuration statements that are repeated multiple times in the device configuration. These repeated lines not only increase the size of your configuration, but also make it error-prone in case of any changes, as repetitive changes are needed at multiple places. With config groups, you can manage repeated configuration statements with ease. Create a config group with all the common configurations and apply the config group. The inheritance mechanism in Junos will help you render the configuration with the common config applied correctly. The next time you need to edit the common configuration, it will be in one place. If you need to delete a common configuration, just delete the apply group statement for the group. You can always go back and apply the group configuration when needed. There are a large number of associated features that you can use with config groups and inheritance functionality of Junos. Before we explore these features, let's see how a simple group function works. Let's say we have 50 sub-interfaces configured with multiple options such as description, GRE, bandwidth, traps, ARP response, and filters. This gives us a configuration of 765 lines just on one interface with 50 sub-interfaces. Imagine for all the interfaces on your device, with each interface supporting more than 4,000 sub-interfaces, there is an opportunity for 4,000 mistakes. If you need to make any changes to one of those detailed configurations across all the sub-interfaces, that would mean a huge number of edits. Using configuration groups, we can take all this common configuration and combine it into a group, say Common Interface Config, applicable to the interface with any unit number. Notice the wildcard here, and apply this group in the foreground. We would then have just one place to edit any one of these fine-grained common configurations, and it would apply everywhere the group is applied. We have shrunk the configuration lines to less than half. In order to check the effective configuration, you can use the show configuration with pipe display inheritance. This displays the effective configuration that includes statements inherited from all the applied groups. The annotations will indicate the group from which the configuration statement is inherited. If you don't want the annotations that indicate the source of the data, use the display inheritance no comments pipe. You can now see the configuration as if it were configured on the foreground. Imagine a device with two types of interface, those facing the core and those facing customers, and each style of interface has distinct configuration. By making a core-facing group and a customer-facing group, we can put the appropriate details in each group and then apply that group to specific interfaces. The simplified configuration places these role-based details in a single location, making it easy to modify in a consistent manner. And it also allows us to instantly see the role that each interface performs. Let's look at another example. If you have multiple customers that have very specific configuration requirements across the hierarchies of interfaces, protocols on those interfaces, firewall and security policies, these configurations can be bundled into one group. Whenever the customer configuration needs to be applied, you can just apply the group at the top level. You will see that the different config hierarchies in the config group are inherited and applied correctly. The config group inheritance merges all the firewall configurations from the applied groups and merges it to the foreground configuration. With this capability, you can maintain independent groups for multiple customer configurations and easily control the effective configuration just by changing the applied groups. If a group contains multiple top hierarchies and it is applied at a lower level in the hierarchy, then the hierarchy where the apply group statement overlaps with the group configuration, only those configuration statements become effective. If you have multiple groups applied that configure the same hierarchy, then group that is applied first will always take priority over the groups applied later. However, if the information is configured on the foreground configuration, then only that foreground configuration will be effective. So the order of application goes something like this: foreground, group applied first, then the group applied next, and so on. Also, the deepest nested apply groups has priority. You can also use apply groups except to apply all groups except the ones you choose. Let's look at conditional groups and how they can be used to dynamically control when, where, and how the groups are applied. When configuring the group, you can add a condition when the group configuration is applied and effective. For example, say customer A configuration needs to be applied only during the business hours, then we can set groups customer A when time is 0900 to 1700. There are multiple other options using which you can control how the groups are applied and affect your network dynamically without you committing configuration every time. There are also other features that you can use to simplify your Junos configuration, at the same time giving you greater control of your network. Explore all these features at juniper.net Technical Publications.